Welcome to this morning on Asakhe podcast, your daily dose of insightful conversation on current affairs, politics and social issues. Please share and also follow us on social media at SiteZW. Now, stay tuned to today's episode.
A very good morning to you guys. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of This Morning on Asakhe. My name is Brighton. Good morning to you this morning.
Good morning, Brighton, and good morning to our guests.
Today on the show, we're looking at the issue of consumer protection rights, and we're going to be joined by the Kudagwash from the Consumer Protection Commission.
Thank you so much. My name is Mudereri from the Consumer Protection Commission. The Commission is a statutory body which was established through an Act of Parliament, the Consumer Protection Act, Chapter 1444. And this act was enacted in 2019. Basically, its mandate is to protect consumers against unfair business practices, against deception, against all the malpractices that you might think of when consumers are doing their daily shopping or in the marketplace. The act is saying consumers have rights. Those rights must be protected so that consumers are not shortchanged as they do their daily business. I thank you.
Kind of highlight to us as consumers some of our rights that we have as consumers.
In terms of the rights, the ones which are outlined in the Consumer Protection Act, there are 6 of them. There's the right to consumer education and awareness. Basically, we are saying consumers need to be educated against the environmental impacts or their preferences or their consumption in the marketplace, so they need to be educated. And it's also part of the mandate of the Commission. Then the other right is the right to information, that consumers need to be provided with information when they are purchasing goods and services. I can give you an example. It's now a legal requirement that shops need to display their price, so it's now an offense. So consumers, they don't need to ask when they get into a shop, so they've got the right to get all the information which is required. And consumers have also the right to health and safety, as defined in Section 10 of the CPA, where we are saying that consumers, both in terms of business now, is now prohibited for them to sell goods or services that do not meet mandatory safety or risk requirements. That is on the right to health and safety. Then the other one, consumers therefore have the right to be heard and the representation. That is basically consumers have the right to report either to the Commission, or they can even report directly to the court, and they should have their grievances addressed by either the Commission or the judicial system. And then consumers have also the right to fair contractual agreements, that they should not be deceived, or they should not have those contracts which are one-sided, which just favor suppliers. And also consumers have the right to choose. They should not be coerced when they are making their daily transactions. So basically, those are just in summary, some of the rights, but I think we'll go into the details. Let's say we are talking about the right to health and safety, that consumers should not be sold expired products. I think we'll delve more into the details to say what does the law say in terms of those issues. I thank you.
Carrying on from the right to safety and speaking about expired goods as well, maybe speak to us more about that in terms of what you have gathered and where the Commission comes in now when such issues arise.
This one, it can be addressed on 2 fronts. The first one is that as part of the Commission, we need to educate our consumers. I'll give you an example. You know, what our businesses do is that when products are about to expire or when products have expired, they tend to reduce their prices or they give you discounts. I can give you an example. If it is a drink, say if it is selling for $4, when they discover that it's about to expire or it is expired, they will just give discount to say it's now $5. So what we want to say is that our consumers, usually they just look at the price, but we are saying we need to educate them to say, you need to check the expiry date of any product. So if you discover that the product that has been sold, it has expired, you've got a right to retain that particular good to the shop and you get your refund. I think also talk about in detail about this disclaimer clauses that in terms of Section 42 of the Act, it's now a criminal offense to put those disclaimer clauses like no refund, no exchange. It's now illegal. So we are saying once you discover that you have been sold an expired product, you've got a right to retain that product. That is on number 1. Then number 2, consumers, they must also report to the commission when they see these shops which are selling expired products. But also, as the commission, in terms of Section 70, the commission is supposed to appoint inspectors. And these inspectors, they go around inspecting shops. So those who be found to be selling expired products, they'll be prosecuted and made to pay appropriate fines. So basically, this is on expired products. And I think so far, we've prosecuted a number of businesses for these violations. And I speak right now, we are in Mutoko, we are inspecting the shops, and we are supposed to ensure that we cover every province to ensure that our consumers, they are not exposed to this health risk which are associated with consumption of expired products.
Well, thanks so much, Mr. Kudavashi, for that. In the previous weeks, there's been an issue of selling of underweight goods. For example, sugar, for example, meal as well. What have been your findings?
Thank you so much. What I want to say is that from the survey that we've done, most of these fake or underweight products or some of these, I think what you can say counterfeit products, usually they are sold in the informal sector. If you go to these big shops, these formal shops, usually they want to maintain their standards. So what we want to urge our consumers is that they should stop buying products from the streets because they are exposing themselves to very serious health risk. I'll give you an example. We were worried when we received the news that people, they buy even drugs from the street, which is very, very worrying to the commission that how can you buy drugs from the street which are not certified by any competent authority. So our word is that we want to urge our consumers to make sure that they buy products from registered shops, from the formal shops, so that when there's a problem, we can follow up because they are given a receipt. But when they buy these things from the streets, that's where most of the things they are happening.
Good morning to you, Senora.
Brighton, good morning. I think the truth of the matter is there is the bias towards the upcoming business people. The large corporates, they are also being fed by the informal sector. And it's a fact because of the shortages of foreign currency, they are not getting foreign currency direct from the central bank. So their supply chain is anybody, including individuals.
If you look at the act, the way how it is structured is that it doesn't quite feed into the informal sector, but also we are allowed to do that. But if they are supplying these big corporates, then both for us, we start with the end user to say if it is the distributor who is selling those type of products, then they might need now to give us lead through our investigations to say where are these products coming from, and then we also work with other relevant government institutions so that we also close the tape from where these products are coming from.
Okay, thanks so much for that response. I'm curious to know around this issue of selling of underweight goods, right? I have seen the mushrooming of many grocery shops in Bulawayo here, whereby every corner people are selling groceries, right? And then also some are selling along street pavements, right? What is the commission doing around that? Maybe going to these pavements to ask for these people in terms of looking at their goods. Some are selling even yogurts without even refrigerators on pavements. Some are selling even meat without even cooler boxes or refrigerators.
In terms of our law, we don't quite cover those who sell in the streets. Because, people who sell in the streets, it's under the preserve of the city council and also the police. For us, we look at those who are, because the act says that as long as a shop is registered, we now need to deal with them. But otherwise, in the streets, it now becomes a preserve of the city council and the Zimbabwe Republic Police. But what we are doing is that we have robbed them in so that they also assist us. We are not going to turn a blind eye. That's why we are roping in the city council.
Another thing that has been a problem has been the issue of pricing.
Mm-hmm.
You go into this shop, there's a different price, even when it comes to the rate.
If you look at the Consumer Protection Act, I think it should be Section 51. It talks about unjustifiable pricing. That's what it just talks about. But I think we also need to define to say, when you say unjustifiable price, what do we mean? But just to say, in terms of the act, the act only says that the price at the shelf should be the same price at the till. I think those are the issues that we're dealing with of late, like where you would see that, let's say a product is written $2 at the shelf, and someone goes to the till, he is trying to swipe, then the shop will now change the price, but someone is now using swipe. So that one is illegal, and we've prosecuted a number even of big shops which were doing that practice of changing the price for the one at the shelf and the one at the till, which is illegal. And then the other one, I think the other issue that we're grappling with is on the exchange rate. But this one is under the purview of the Financial Intelligence Unit. So we're actually working with them because every shop must use the official exchange rate, which is now, I think, around 14 point something. So we work with FIU. And then also in terms of pricing, the other issues that we're also grappling with is to say that there are some shops, these small shops, they were selling their products exclusively in US dollars. And then if you go there, they'll say, no, the swipe machine is not working. So we are also working with the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe so that we are proposing that it becomes mandatory that every shop must have a swipe machine. So that, because, these big shops, because they are regulated, they are being disadvantaged. So I say we need to have a level playing field in terms of prices in local currency, in prices in US dollars. I think those are some of the issues that we have been grappling with, but we are working with FIU. I think we've read through the newspapers that some shops, some accounts have actually been frozen by FIU, because they are the ones who are the competent authority in terms of those issues. I thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Kudagwashe. Last week, Kudagwashe, there was an issue of the recalling of the Dark and Lovely use a neutralizing shampoo. What measures are there that you guys can curb that, whereby we're seeing these things coming through our borders that have been recalled from our shops because they're not good, maybe to be used by consumers?
What we have done, I think we have seen that we have issued a press statement where we have also recalled this product from our market. Because what usually happens is that the manufacturer in South Africa, it informs the consumer protection equivalent of ours, which is called the National Consumer Commission of South Africa. So those ones, they now alerted COMESA. So all countries in the COMESA region, they were now made to recall that product. So what we have done, after the press statement, we've now sent our inspectors to ensure that we don't have shops which are selling this Dark and Lovely. It's the 50 mils is the one that have been condemned. So in terms of assisting our consumers, the process is that if you have bought that product, the Dark and Lovely, the 50 mils, you are supposed to return that product to the distributor, and then you are supposed to be refunded your money. And then the distributors, they will now have to follow the channels up to the manufacturer. So we've put up our numbers to say those who have challenges, they can phone us so that we can also assist them. But we are also in touch with the National Consumer Commission of South Africa, who said if you have any challenges in terms of the recalls, they can also assist. And even the manufacturer is also ready to come on board, because this thing was actually detected by the manufacturers themselves when they were doing their routine checks, quality checks. So we are saying, yes, the product has been recalled, and we are also working with our parent ministry and also with the ZIMRA, so that these products, they don't also find themselves being actually exported into our country, which products have been condemned. So we've also activated all the state apparatus so that the product does not continue to come.
Thanks so much, Kuda, for that response. But also, there's been a high increase in terms of selling of counterfeit products. For example, your toothpaste, for example, your alcohol. There's been many people selling these counterfeit products. Maybe speak to us more about that, Kuda, the issue of ZIMRA, and maybe from our borders, whereby we see these fake products coming through from our borders.
When we did our investigations, we noted that, these products, I know, I don't have to talk on behalf of ZIMRA. I think our border, we've raised this issue with other government arms, that our borders, they are porous. So these products, most of them, they are smuggled into the country, and then they find themselves in the streets. I think we've heard about these issues to do with the runners selling these products. But you discover that the catch usually is on the price. Like this alcohol, you can see that this is a wine, an expensive wine, which sells, let's say, for $200, and then you see someone selling it for $50, and then it becomes a catch. So we are saying, yes, our borders, we need to ensure that we close in on our borders, which are porous, where these products they are finding themselves, and also to make sure that ZIMRA, they don't allow these products to come into the country. And also, I think even the source where these products are being sold in the streets. And like what I said earlier on, that we are encouraging our consumers not just to buy these products from the streets, but because that's where the main source of these products. It's very rare to find them in these big supermarkets, these formal shops, but those ones, they are controlled. There are two sources of counterfeit products. There are some which are imported, like the Colgates that we've talked about, these beers, these wines, which are being imported. But there's also another group of products, these counterfeit products, which are being manufactured locally in the backyards. And I will mention in particular Mbare. I think we've also roped in a ZRP so that we work with them, so that we bust these syndicates. But I'll just give you an example where even a cascade is being manufactured there. If you look at section, I think should be section 13, it talks about the penalties. The penalty is level 12, which is your 3,000 US dollars. And we've actually fined one of the businesses. I'm not at liberty to just give the names, but we fined and made them to pay a fine of US $3,000 or even imprisonment for a period not exceeding 2 years. So this is the penalty.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode. For feedback, you can contact us on 263-777-470017. Don't forget to follow and like our social media pages.